should be able to cast out demons. Everybody should be able to heal the sick. Everybody should be able to succeed in whatever they lay their hands to. They say, whatsoever you do it, you shall prosper, is the verdict of dominion. But most times, in 10 aspects of our life, it's only one that is working. And then we are running around with that one. No. They say, whatsoever he doeth. It's an error if 50% of your life is working. Every aspect should work. Your family should work. Your business should work. In fact, if it's not working, you should be surprised. But in our own case, because we don't understand dominion, when it starts working, that's when we are shocked. It's to show you the level to which we are falling. When it doesn't work, that's when we should be surprised. But we are in a generation when it's working, that's when we are surprised. When you follow the protocol, then he opens the oracles to you. That's when you talk like a god. We don't talk because we read. We talk because we tap into frequencies in the spirit. And what God is streaming per time, he discloses it to us. This is why our wars carry power. It's not because we are powerful in ourselves. It's because there is a dimension in the spirit that flows per time. And when a man can align with those frequencies, he can stream it to earth. In Genesis chapter 1 verse 28, it said, and God blessed them, and he said to them, be fruitful, multiply, subdue, replenish, and have dominion. So dominion was given to man as his token from God. In Genesis 1:26, it said, let us make man in our own image, after our likeness. And in the image of God, he made man. Male and female, he made them both. So man is not a male. Man is not a female. Man is both male and female. You know, when we say man, we assume that is the male gender. The first blueprint of man is called a species that carries the image of God. So any species that carries the image of God that is trapped in a body is a man. And the token that God gave to that species is the power to rule in the visible realm. So two things happen. If you don't carry the image of God in this vessel, then you are not a man. You may be breathing, you may be talking, and you may be shouting. But the proof that you are a man is that when we look upon you, what reflects from your life is the likeness of God and the image of God. And the second proof that you are a man is not that you are tall and fair. The second proof that you are a man is that you have power to create change. So men were not designed to struggle with earth. Men were not designed to struggle with creation. This is why hardship reduces the quality of a man, because the glory of a man is revealed when he sustains capacity to exercise dominion. So a man who is in the altar of God have no business failing exam. The moment he begins to fail exam, it means he is falling from the realm of dominion. A man has no business struggling in business. The moment he begins to struggle in business, it means he is no longer consistent with the blueprint of Abba. A man has no reason to struggle in ministry. The moment he begins to struggle, it means something is wrong from the foundations. So he has to come back to the studio of eternity and find out what is wrong with this setting that is making it impossible for me to exercise dominion. We don't struggle to exercise dominion. It's our way of life. The way we breathe, that's how we exercise dominion. So if you go to school, passing exam is not a testimony. That is how, it's just like breathing. If you breathe, you testify. Jesus sent 70 men out, and they went, they said, demons were subject to us. And he said, rejoice not that demons are subject to you. You are a creature of dominion. The reason you should rejoice is that you have a stake in Zion. The testimony is not that you conquered. The testimony is not that you won. The testimony is not that you rule. ruling and conquering is a byproduct of your existence. But you see, because we are falling from dominion, the things that should be natural to us are the things we clamor about. So if I pray here now and a deaf ear opens, suddenly I start feeling like an apostle. It's not the opening of the deaf ear that made me a minister. As a believer, I should open deaf ears. If I come here now and the blind eyes open, suddenly I'll start feeling like a champion. It's not the opening of the blind eye, it's natural. When the church steps into dominion, we can be doing what we are doing and somebody has a challenge, a demon is screaming there. The pastor doesn't need to start shouting from the altar, get out. The usher standing by can just throw and say, keep quiet. You are distracting the service. And it's not a testimony. This is the subject we want to consider. Not that demon is screaming and then they bring him out. What is your name? Where are you from? And waste the whole service. Where we should equip men, we stop the service and allow demons to do shows on the altar. And the demon can take 1 hour from the service. It's a waste of time. When we waste time with demons, it's because we don't know dominion. In fact, attention should not be paid to them. Take them to the back. Let an usher handle that. We are talking serious kingdom matters. We are opening the secrets and the oracles of God. We are empowering men for assignments that are eternal. Who is this demon to break into our service? Imagine if you are having a family meeting and then your neighbor comes and says, open the door, open the door. And then you stop the family meeting. And then for 30 minutes you are attending to the stranger that came. And then when the stranger finished, you say, let's clap for ourselves. This is what we do most times in church. Service is going on, God is talking, and the demon truncates the service. And then we stop the service for 30 minutes and we are dealing with them. It's a waste of time. If one dominion feat is carried out in the service, the whole church goes agog. The whole church. Meanwhile, in the early church, they were so busy with prayer and the ministry of the word that they didn't want to distract themselves with healing the sick. So they arranged them on the streets. When they are coming out of service, anyone that their shadow fall on is healed. It's not part of the miracle service. They went to interact with God. They went for intimacy. They went for intercourse. When they finish what they are doing, then they come, and as they are strolling on the sick are being healed and they go home. These were men that understood dominion. Why is dominion so far from us? Why does it look as if it's alien to us? Why does it look as if only few superstars can carry out certain feats in the body of Christ? Because only few men are paying attention to the requirements of dominion. Every other person comes to receive. They don't come to learn how to rule. So it looks as if it's only the apostle that does certain things. It's only the prophet that does certain things. It's only the pastor, the evangelist and teacher. It has even become so bad that nowadays even the apostles and prophets and evangelists can't even exercise dominion. So they either fake it or they go to such diabolical powers to do what they should do naturally. Imagine if you are faking breathing. That you want to breathe, then you have to fake breathing. Breathing that should come natural to you, you are now faking breathing. Or you need to consult a native doctor to empower you to breathe. It either means you are very sick or you are dying. But that's the state of many people. The moment you realize who you are and pay attention to the laws of dominion, it will become natural to you like you are breathing. The Bible said many things did Jesus that were not recorded. It said if they were recorded, there is no volume of books in the world that would have contained it. So they decided to just gather a few things to make you believe. If they told you what Jesus did, the miracles themselves, thank you very much, will become a distraction. Because they say all the volumes of the book in the world will not be able to contain it. So Jesus wakes up carrying out miracles from morning till night. It was too natural with him. Too natural that they couldn't chronicle it. So they picked a few just to make you believe that he's the Christ. If they were to write the things he did, not what he preached. So the doings of Jesus were more than the preachings of Jesus. Jesus did more than he spoke. So they had to gather what he said and avoided what he did, so that what he did will not become a distraction. But in our generation, what we do are so scanty that most times we come and we litter everywhere we're talking because we don't know dominion. Hey, 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 ha. Hey, hey, ha. The things I want to share with you, it will task you. So I want to let you know what you will gain before you begin. Because in dominion, you don't lose. You see Christians in school, they are having to sleep with lecturers to pass exam because they don't know dominion. The Bible said the king had a dream and he woke up in the morning. He needed an interpretation to the dream. He won't even as much as tell them the dream. And Daniel said, wait, there is a God that revealed secrets. And Daniel will go home and come back from home and tell the king the dream he dreamt. And he will tell the king what the dream means. So you can, from your house, travel into the dream of your king. These were the realms this man walked in. And I know what I'm telling you by experience. I'm not telling you what I read in a book. When I was in school, I won't tell you what I did because you will kill yourself. But when I carry my book, I know where the questions come from. Most times I summarize. I take a textbook of 300 pages. I open. I know exactly where the lecturer will choose the questions from. And then I summarize it. Students come to school to collect my summary. On exam day, go to where they photocopy. My handwriting is everywhere. They photocopy the summary. They dump their textbook and read the summary. And when they go into the exam hall, 4 out of 6 questions come from there. I was very busy in school that most courses, it is on the exam day I open it. Yet I graduated with a 4 point. So I know what I'm telling you. It's not story. There is a realm of dominion you will enter that you will literally tap into the mind of your supervisor. So before he comes to tell you what he wants to tell you, you know where he's coming from. There's a realm of dominion. When I stepped into ministry, they say, for you to succeed in ministry, you must be of 5 generations. I say 5 generations. My own father didn't speak in tongues. Does that mean it is my great-grandchildren that will succeed in ministry? No, I won't allow the warfare for them. This man is a warrior. Whatever it takes for 5 generations, 1 generation can do it. And the way to do it is to forget about your earthly genealogy and connect to your spiritual genealogy. So my father may not be a preacher, but I know I am of the order of Enoch. So if I can connect to him in the spirit, I will tap into a genealogy that is older than my ancestors. I don't need to have a 5-generation preachers to be able to succeed in ministry. You enter into business, they tell you people don't prosper in Calabar. What do you mean by that? I don't know what you are saying. You are telling me story among men. I live among spirits. And where I came from, they don't know failure. We don't know how failure works. Because the Bible told us that there was darkness, deep darkness upon the earth. And God said, let there be light. Because when a God wants to walk, he doesn't need to labor, he talks. When a God is talking, he's walking. What do we do by 20 days of work? A God will talk in one day, all of it will happen. So I sit in my room on my prayer table and I'm determining what I will do in a year. So I changed my future from my prayer table. The other time I was praying and I leaped on an eagle. And the eagle was soaring around the country. And when I came out, God told me this is how we go around the nation. So I traveled around the nation before I began to travel in the natural. So now when I look at a territory and I don't want to go there yet, I say, wait. As I'm talking to you today, I'm supposed to have another meeting in Calabar today with the Presbyterian student. In Calabar, in one weekend, there are 52 weeks in a year. Every weekend, I can have as much as 5 meetings. Because in the place of prayer, I leaped on an eagle. So every territory opens to you naturally. Anything you want to do works It's called dominion. But there are laws that make it happen. When you understand these laws, the last exam you failed will be the last you will fail. The last thing you struggled with will be the last you will struggle with. I can open scriptures for you from Genesis to Revelation. You will see that this kingdom, we don't fail. And you will also notice that if you are not a champion, you will not qualify for your story to be read. Because only those who excelled were recorded. So this Christianity of failure in the morning, failure in the evening, failure with spiritual things, failure with natural things, it's not Christianity. Because the ingredient of dominion is not there. You'll see people call themselves bishops, and program is happening. One man of God who is working in dominion comes, and they have a section for bishops. And then you see 35 bishops in one city, struggling for who will sit in front. Struggling for who will sit in front. When one pastor came from another city, gathered the whole city together. If you come there and you turn, and there are 30 of you, the first thing you should do is to remove the collar. If one man can come and gather the whole city, and 30 of us have been in this city, it means there's something wrong. You come for a meeting, people are struggling to sit in front. Who are you? They say, I'm apostle this, I'm apostle that. And then you have a section full of apostles. There are 27 apostles in one meeting. Meanwhile, in the early church, there were only 12. And they took the whole city. How come there are 27 apostles in one city, and all we struggle for is who will sit in front in a meeting in one auditorium? And sometimes the auditorium can't even seat 500 people. And there are 5 apostles struggling to sit, 25 apostles struggling to sit in one auditorium. There are 25 apostles struggling to preach on one pulpit. Meanwhile, the city is so large that there are many places that are not yet inhabited. Because we don't understand dominion. People are in church, they are doing politics. Who they will post to the city. When they post you to the village, you say they hate you. Because you want to go to the city where life is easy. We don't go where life is easy. We create ease in life. So when they send you to the village, that's an opportunity for you. In recent times, I told myself I'll stop attending city conferences. Because when you come for conferences in cities, you hardly see cripples. You hardly see sick people. Everybody is packaged with suit, with really expensive perfume, coming to sit down like an elite. When you go to the village, don't say miracle service. Because if you say miracle service, you will see people, over 100 people with clutches. That's when you will put your faith to work. That's where you will exercise dominion. When you come to a city, everybody is looking for you to talk wisdom. And that's why all of us have become philosophers. No power to reveal the kingdom of God. It's a shame. It's a shame the direction the world is going. Yet we are priding ourselves as Christians, opening new churches and new fellowship, and there is no impact. The man who is starting a church is asking you, sir, how do I do this? He doesn't even have direction in life yet. He wants to start another church, add to the number, and gather people and confuse their destiny. If we need dominion, it's now. And I want to show you just 4 laws of dominion this morning. 4 laws. If you can practice one and master it, watch your life in the next 3 years. Watch your life. You will be amazed. You will be so amazed. The kind of things that will follow you everywhere you go. You will be overwhelmed. What God will make of you, you will become so afraid that, can this be sustained? The speed will be so much. The influence will be so much. The blessings will be so much that you will be wondering, how is this possible? Because you can be in the not know if you walk in dominion. The guys were walking in the wilderness at night. The Bible said the glory of God was moving before them as fire. So the cold that kills in the wilderness, they didn't feel it. And in the wilderness, they were not struggling with direction. They were led. He said he led them through the wilderness. In the daytime, the glory of God comes as a pillar of smoke. and shields them from the sun. So they were in the wilderness, they didn't feel it. The Bible said their shoes did not weary. Their shoes did not wear away. They wore shoes and they were walking for 40 years. The shoe was growing with their legs, and the shoe will not weary out. He said he sent his word and healed them in the wilderness, where you should be sick every day. They didn't have one doctor. The word of the Lord was traveling with them, healing all that were oppressed. He sent his word, and his word healed them. He said there was none feeble among them. In the wilderness, nobody was feeble. Meanwhile, we were lying down in air-conditioned room and bed. Yet every day we are on paracetamol. Because we don't know dominion. The things that should trouble us are not the things we pay attention to. And even when people come for conferences, they are looking for bread and wine. When they can become bakeries that make bread. Everybody wants impartation. Impartation that will rest on you for 2 weeks and lift. Because you can't manage the consecration of that impartation. It's what you are looking for. Instead of growing to a point where even if they put you in the wilderness, you will touch the sky from there. Tell somebody, I must walk in dominion. I'm tired of religious Christianity. You are talking about power, yet when there is need to manifest power, power becomes a story. You are talking about Jesus. When there is a need to prove Jesus, Jesus becomes a story. We teach every subject, but when it comes to manifestation, it becomes a story. Meanwhile, the world is coming to look for the Jesus we are talking about. They can't find him. We end up with religion and activities. Religion and activities. You are young people. I told myself, I'm a young person. I will not deceive myself. I will never deceive myself. So I told myself, I will not even preach anything I've not experienced. Because it will be a deceived person deceiving other people. Jesus heals the sick. You pray for 1,000. Not one have been healed. And you say you are exercising faith. No, faith produces results. What is the first law of dominion? The first law of dominion is the law of the blessing. No man can walk in dominion unless a spirit breathes upon him. This is why even in darkness, somebody is vying for power. He goes to look for a spirit. Because among men, dominion is not a possibility without spiritual fraternity. If you see anybody doing anything mighty on the earth, a spirit have breathed upon him. That was how the realm was instituted. I read for you in Genesis 1:26. It said, let us make man in our image and our likeness. And in the image of him, he made man. So the man was made with the DNA of God. But so long as he's man, he can't have dominion without a blessing. The guy looked like God. He was created in the image of God, but he could not have dominion. So you can resemble God, you can be like God. If the blessing is not on your life, you will toil all night. You will not be blessed. He made man in his image, yet the man could not have dominion. No, when you are reading Genesis, you will make the mistake of assuming that everything is just happening concertedly. I don't have time to go into that yet. But things are not just happening as you think. When he said in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was void and darkness was upon the face of the deep, you think it's just consecutive occurrences. It's not so. The man was created in the image and in the likeness of God, but the man didn't have dominion. Because dominion is not predicated upon being like God alone. Until the blessing comes upon you. He said, and the Lord blessed them. Who was the Lord blessing? The Lord was blessing a mirror image of himself. Because the man God created, the raw material with which he was created was God himself. The Bible said God breathed upon him and he became a living soul. So it's like God took himself and hid it in dust and he called it man. So the man God was talking to was a reflection of God. It's just like cloning. You clone yourself. One is so powerful. The other looks alike, yet so vulnerable. So the man, even though he looked like God, was very vulnerable. This is why many believers are vulnerable. Because they are not walking in the blessing. Do they have eternal life? Yes. Do they have the image of God? Yes. But it takes more than image and it in dominion. So God knew and he said, and God blessed them. It is in the premise of the blessing that he said, be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, have dominion. So the blessing is what activates the power to rule. The power to rule is on your inside because you are born of God. But what activates that power is the blessing that comes upon you. So after God created the man and God himself attested that the man was in his image and in his likeness, he came quickly and said, be blessed. If you are not walking with the blessing, you will know everything but you won't prosper. Have you seen people before? They said this is the problem. They say wait. They analyze the whole problem very intelligently, yet they don't prosper. A friend of mine told me something. He was so intelligent that what the government wanted to do in his state, he was the one that designed the whole blueprint. In fact, they brought Chinese expatriates. They examined it. They said they've never seen this level of intelligence. Appreciated it, took the blueprint. When time came for execution, they called him aside and said, we will get back to you. He brought the initiative. He created the blueprint. But when time came for execution, what did they tell him? We will get back to you. They went and looked for somebody else. He came and studied his blueprint and took over. If there is no blessing in your life, you will know. You will be excellent. You will be the man for the job. But you cannot be fruitful. You cannot be productive. Because the power to make fruitful is not in the fact that you are a man. It's not in the fact that you are intelligent. It's not in the fact that you are even in the right place and in the right time. It is the blessing. The blessing will manipulate everything your life needs into your life at the right time. This is why the patriarchs, no matter how wealthy they are, they don't leave this world until they constow blessings on their children. He said when Abraham was old, he laid hands on Isaac. When Isaac was old, he laid hands on Jacob. Be fruitful. You are blessed with the dew of heaven. Your enemies shall serve you. He wasn't writing a document. He was releasing spiritual energy. Because the blessing is what makes the difference. They can give you 1,000 cattle. It will finish with time. They can give you 1 billion naira. It will finish with time. There are such a things called palmer worm, caterpillar worm, canker worm that can eat up your resources. But when the blessings come, even if you dig a well and they collect it, leave. Go and dig another one. Even if you dig on a stone, water will come out. I've shared it before. Jacob dug a well. They collected the well from Jacob. He didn't fight. He left them and came to another place. He dug another well. The one they collected dried up. They pursued him to the new well. They collected it. They left them. He went and dug another one. The one they collected dried up. And they now say, no, we have come to understand that you are bigger than us. The same thing happened with Abraham. Same thing happened with Isaac. Same thing happened with Jacob. All of them were doing different things. But they carried one thing, the blessing. The blessing. While Isaac was an agriculturist, Jacob was a shepherd. What was the difference? It wasn't the type of job, it was the blessing. One can be a businessman, the other one can be a lecturer, the other one can be a politician. The ingredient all of you need to prosper is the blessing. It's not the type of business. A lot of people come into a city and they are finding out what is working. What is working is not the type of business, it's the spirit backing what is happening. You can see an architecture, or you say it's estate, real estate that is working. When you go into real estate, you will build 90 estates, and the moment you build it, government will say we want to use that place for irrigation. Have you not traveled? Go to cities, you will see an estate, full estate, over 30 pieces built, and then they don't complete it. The next thing you see a red sign. Why? Government hijacks it, and then they keep it like that for 15 years. Even when they leave it later, nobody wants to live there again, because there is a dark cloud that is now resting on that place. So you sink 3 billion, and 3 billion vanishes. The blessing makes the difference. It makes you fruitful. It replenishes you. So while you are laboring, you are not sweating. You did a project yesterday, people thought this was the best, but there is something in the blessing called replenish. So you come and start another one as if you've never done anyone before, and the people are wondering, how come? You just finished this project, you say yes, and you are doing this one, you say no, we are already contemplating the next one. What is making it happen is the blessing. It's the blessing. They looked at you, they said no, this one he won't finish it. You are laughing. Before they know what is happening, you have started another project, and they say, how come? How are you doing it? It's the blessing. Because the blessing replenishes you. You are doing it, but your effort is not depleted. It's like Bluetooth. I can send one song to you, I'll send the same song to another person. I can send it to 1,000 persons, my own won't deplete. It's called the replenishing power of the blessing. This is why one man can take a nation, because inherent in him is not only fruitfulness. If you are only fruitful, a point will come when you come to your zenith. But in addition to fruitfulness, you replenish. So in fruitfulness, you are replenishing. In fruitfulness, you are able to produce. But you will produce until you come to a point where naturally you will stop producing. But not when you are replenishing. When you are replenishing, you'll be producing, and every time you produce, you'll come back again. Do you know how men grow old? Men grow old actually because of fruitfulness. Because in the cells, there's what we call mitosis. The cells divide into two. So when the cell divide, the newer cell can never be as good as the old cell that divided. So when cell A produce B and C will be weaker than A. When B produces E and F will be weaker than B. And remember, B was weaker than A. So the more your cells are dividing, the older you become. So the old cells cannot be as good as the new cell. So you are being fruitful, yet you are growing old. But when you replenish, when A produce A and B, B and C will be identical with A. And sometimes even more powerful than A. Because B and C will become a hybrid of A. So replenishing is superior to fruitfulness. And it doesn't stop there. It said, subdue. So the new cells being produced understand a better strategy of winning than the old cells. So I built one house today. I don't just have the ability to build another house. The next house I built is better than the one I built before. And then I have a strategy of even building better than what I did the last time. It's called to be fruitful, to subdue, to replenish, to multiply, and to have dominion. This is why blessed men don't complain. Because they don't know how they are doing what they are doing. You are wondering, how is this possible? They don't know how they are doing what they are doing. All they know is that they just make impact. Have you gone to see a man who is blessed? Every day people come to his house, he's giving to them. And then you are wondering, oh boy, this money no go finish. You came 2 years ago, he was giving. 2 years later, you came, he was still giving. And the more he gives, the more he becomes bigger. Meanwhile, the poor man who is not blessed, the little he has, he hides it. He wants to eat small. And in eating small, he's reducing every day. But the blessed man who is giving, he said, the liberal soul shall be made fat. Him that watereth shall by himself be watered unto. The more he gives, the more he grows bigger. It's the blessing. There's a mechanism of the blessing. Now, the people of the world don't know this, so they despise it. And most times, gullible believers who don't know about the blessing, they also follow the world to despise it. You are in a different kingdom. Your advantage is the law of the kingdom that you follow. I just came in from Ghana. If I do what they do in Ghana, I will die here. Because what they do in Ghana prospers them who are in Ghana. So you can't be in the kingdom and then Obi Kubana is giving you idea on how to succeed. See, look at them. They are doing this thing. They don't have sense. We are not in the same kingdom. My children will not go and sit with me in club. My children will not see naked women dancing, and I call it prosperity. My life will not be characterized by vanity. So you don't learn from the world. You teach the world how to live. But you have your own laws that govern you. It's called the law of the blessing. When the people of the world are growing, they judge their value in the size of their bank account. But when a kingdom man is growing, through his life, many people are growing in God. And even if they leave this world in eternity, they will still be relevant. It's bigger than material things. How does the law of the blessing work? First is by honor. What you don't honor, you can't receive from. This morning is a teaching series, so please pay attention. In 1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 30, it says, him that honors me, I will honor. But him that despises me shall be lightly esteemed. The reason things will work for you is a spiritual investment on your life called honor. People don't serve you, give to you, or submit to you because you are the best. They do it to you because there is something on your life they can't explain. They just want to honor you. It is God that puts it on a man. But the way a man walks into that dimension of the blessing is in the level of honor that he has for God. He said, him that honors me, I will honor. Him that despises me will be lightly esteemed. So one of the ways of walking in the blessing in this kingdom is to honor God and to honor authority. The reason our generation may not prosper is because we are a dishonoring generation. We feel we know it all. So the young man comes with his revelation that have not been proven, and he begins to attack fathers that represent different dimensions in God. And he thinks because he can speak faster and he thinks he has more mysteries, he will prosper. He won't prosper, because spiritual authorities also represent the spirits that set them. So when you honor a spiritual authority, you are not honoring a man, you are honoring the spirit that put him there. So for the blessings of God to flow through your life, you must honor the Lord and honor the authorities that he has set in motion. In Hebrews 7:7, it says, without every contradiction, the less is blessed of the better. Most of us have come for this conference where we pray in tongues for 2 hours. We will sweat from our head to our shoe, but you can't even honor the president. When they are talking, you are doing your own thing. You will never have dominion. Never. Even if you know more, because you have disregarded authority. And you don't know that when you disregarded authority, you disregarded God. Some of you, because I came now, during the power service, when you see the power of God moving and things happening, you want to touch the man of God. You want to sow a seed to the man of God. You will think by touching the man of God, you will sow a seed. You are joking. I told people before that if it's just by merely touching, now touching transfers heritage. But if it's by mere touching, the wives of ministers would have been the most gifted and most anointed, because they touch them every day. And they touch them much more than any one of you will ever touch them. There is something called honor. When you honor a system, when you honor a structure, everything God allocates to that structure begins to flow in your life. So if you know you won't honor this structure, better don't be here, because the structure itself will fight you. If you say you are part of this structure, what you have done is that you have brought all your possibilities under the structure. So if you don't discern the structure and honor it, you will be in the structure and you will diminish. This is why what should bless people is what kills them. It was Paul that was speaking in Acts of the 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 23 to 24. It says, for this cause many are sick. For this cause many die, not discerning the lost body. I thought the body of Christ is a family and a place of refuge. It said because some people are part of the body of Christ, that's why they will die. Why would that happen? They not discern the lost body. So when a man doesn't honor structures and the Lord himself, he begins to deplete. He doesn't know why. He's doing so much, yet he's becoming small. But there's another person who understands honor. And in the course of understanding of honor, a little he's doing, God is multiplying it. I'm saying this to us because our generation, we are only moved by power. We are moved by mysteries. We are moved by lingo. We will go nowhere. You have to make up your mind and tell yourself, is this who they put ahead of me? Even if he's a stammerer, I will honor him. Even if he's not well educated, I will honor him. And as you start doing that, the Lord will shoot you up like an Orokpo tree. And you will wonder, how does this happen? It's a mystery in this kingdom. You don't even need a man to lay hands on you. You don't need God to talk from heaven. My son Nathaniel, I have raised you today. No. If you understand honor, you file into the rank. And everything that flows from the top will flow to you where you are. There are many people that hands have never been laid on them, yet they are great in this world. Meanwhile, there are many other people that the best of men have laid hands on them, but they've gone nowhere. What is the difference? It's honor. Many have locked doors against themselves by dishonor. Many have disqualified themselves by dishonor, and they don't know. They are praying, they are fasting, they are reading books, they are going from one conference to the other, but they carry dishonor in their heart. And everything that should rest upon them, dishonor will make sure it shifts from their head. You can hug them, remove your garment, put on their head, they will go nowhere. Because when the blessing shall come, the blessing will reject their head. Because a dishonorable man have disconnected from the circuit system of the spirit. The blessing walks through the channel of honor. If you are not honoring God or honoring the authorities that God has set today, after a while you will see the difference. I have been here for a while, and I know it's not the most gifted that God raises. I've been here for a while. I know it's not the best that God raises. He said when Samuel saw Eliab, the man had a stature that commanded attention and glory. But God said, I've refused him. It's not the best that God raises. It's the one that honors God and honors the structures he set, that he puts the powers of the blessings upon. This is why many never go anywhere. How do you honor? You honor first by reverencing in your heart God and the people that he has set above you. It doesn't begin with an activity. You can be bending down, greeting somebody, yet dishonoring him in your heart. There must be a reverence. So when a leader is put ahead of you, you will be shocked that the reason you may never go anywhere is because of your president or your Bible study leader that you despise so much. Because you can't despise the Bible study leader and claim to honor the president. You can't dishonor the president and claim to honor the pastor. You can't dishonor the pastor and claim to honor God. There are authorities that God has set, including the governor of your state. The governor of your state is an authority. If they are wrong, you can state it. But you don't have power to come and start dishonoring and discrediting leadership that God set in motion. I'm telling you why you may be in Calabar and not prosper. It's not about church. It's a law of the spirit. If it is God that instituted that authority, if you fight it, the structure will fight you. We have many people on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, insulting and violating authorities. The people that God raises are few. It's because they know these secrets. It doesn't sound bogus, but this is what makes men. Your leaders are not doing well. Pray for them. If there is something wrong, don't validate it. State it. But don't insult or dishonor in the process. You can say the truth the way it is without dishonoring. You want to walk in dominion? It's not just prayer and fasting. It's not impartation. It's not what you feel. They are governed by laws. How do you honor God and authorities? Number 2 is by giving. He said, honor the Lord with your substance and with the first fruit of thy increase. You can't claim to honor God and an authority and you don't commit your substance. Your substance is what provokes a blessing. In Genesis 27 verse 3, it said, get unto me venison, that my soul will bless you. Hands can be laid on you, prophetic decrees can be made on you, but you may not receive. Because when you give, it's an act of faith. It opens your heart to receive. You don't receive on your head, you receive on your heart. How do you honor? You honor through service. Respectful service. Some people, since they came for this conference, they've crossed their legs waiting for impartation. Meanwhile, there are certain people here that will serve to a point that they will even forget praying for them. After 1 year, those who served will be blessed more than those who received the impartation and ran away with it. Many don't know it. When I went for an Adbonke's meeting, we came from afar. And of course, we went, they called it passing on the torch. So obviously the man wanted to release impartation on Nigeria. We went to serve. But when we came, they had their organization and their structure. I came, they say, you are not an usher, you don't have a badge. I said, which badge? What is badge? I traveled on the road for 14 hours to come here. You are saying, which badge? They are parking benches from here, chairs from here. We begin to park. We are just watching. Since we are not part of the group, any instruction they give, this was in 2017, not long ago. We didn't go there as apostles and ministers of God. Are they parking chairs now? Thank God. All of us begin to park the chairs. We didn't even wait for somebody to say thank you. In fact, I slept on the field for 3 days. There was no time to go to the hotel. While we are rushing to stand on the first row, we are also rushing to serve. I left that conference in 2017. In 2018, I was all over the place. I didn't necessarily collect his handkerchief, but I forced my way into the blessing by serving. Because I know he needed somebody to carry the chairs and arrange it. And if he needed that to happen, if I do it, I've become an answered prayer to him. Many are too big to serve. In this kingdom, Jesus said, the greatest shall be the servant of all. If you don't serve, you don't honor. And if you don't honor, you don't qualify for the blessings. And if you don't walk in the blessing, you will not be fruitful. You will not multiply. You will not replenish. You will not subdue. You will not have dominion. Forget this hyper grace nonsense they are preaching. You are born again, so you are the blessed of God. That's true. But have you manifested it? You are born again, so you are healed. That's true. Have you manifested it? Close to 70% Christians are sick. Does that negate the fact that they are healed? No, they are actually healed. But walking in it has a definite protocol. Everybody born again is blessed. Is that true? Yes. But how do you walk in it? There's a definite protocol. If you start sharing 1,000 today, you'll be amazed the number of Christians that will queue up to show you that many are walking in lack. But they will not apply the laws that provokes deliverance. They keep doing what they have been doing for the past 10 years, and they think by doing it again and again they will have results. God is not the God of evolution. He's the God of creation. So you don't get the result just because you are repetitively doing it. If it is wrong for 10 years, it will be wrong for 10 years. Time will not make it right. I told you from the beginning, dominion is not eloquent. Eloquence is laws. Most of us, we have to practice this for 2 years, for 3 years, for it to become a natural part of our lives. For the harvest to begin to manifest. The second law of the blessing is the law of humility and brokenness. I've showed you already. Hebrews 7:7. It said, without every contradiction, the less is blessed of the better. The moment you think you are big, you have disqualified yourself from the blessing. It said, when you were small in your own eyes, did I not make you king? There are many people, they were humble, sweeping the church, serving in their workplaces. They were serving. They didn't know why they were attracting favor until suddenly they are promoted and they became commanders. Hey, get here. Oh, come on here. Do this. And they command their way from the top to the bottom. It says God resists the proud, but he giveth more grace to the humble. It was talking to believers, not unbelievers. So the person who is qualified for more blessing is the man who is broken. This is why even though David sinned more than King Saul, and this is not endorsing sin, David was the one that walked continually in the blessing. Because when you tell David you have sinned, in the public he can tear his clothes. But Paul was so conscious, I'm a king. Even when Samuel wanted to rebuke him, he said, no, not the public, the people are watching. The people are watching. You violate God, you are conscious that the people are watching. Meanwhile, David doesn't care whether the people are watching. In the public, he rents his clothes, sits down, and pour ashes on his head. Every time God looks upon him, he is qualified for more blessing. David was the only man God blesses even when he's in error. The people are watching. Is it the people that made you king? God made you king. God made you a global figure. God made you a governor. God made you a ruler. Now you are conscious of the people. The people will walk you out of office. He said, a contrite heart and a broken spirit thou shalt never despise. Psalm 51 verse 17. So David knew the secret, that the way to walk with this spirit and to command his blessings is always to be a child, to be a baby in his hands. Some of us have become so big that we can't even kneel down in church again. And I'm not saying you must religiously kneel down, but once upon a time you could roll before the Lord, but now you are the guest minister. So there's a way guest ministers stand. So when you come for the conference, you have to stand like a guest minister and look straight. And once in a while, you nod your head. You have been blessed. A day will come, you will leave the stadium and start preaching in mushrooms. The Bible said the 24 elders, day and night, they fell from their throne. They cast their crown. I don't care about my reputation. If it has to do with authority, I can strip at any time. That's a man qualified for the blessing. The Bible said he stripped himself of the garment of divinity, so God exalted him. If you have arrived, then your journey have ended. Because your journey actually ends when you arrive. Meanwhile, some people have arrived at the age of 23 as fellowship presidents. Some people have arrived as student union government president on campus. Meanwhile, there are different cadres: counselor, chairman, governor, senator, president. But they arrived as SUG secretary general. So their politics and their political career ends on campus. Have you not seen many SUG presidents? After 10 years, they are touts in the garage. Some people arrive as JCCF president. So on campus, they are papo. The moment they graduate, you see them later, 5 years later. You can't even recognize papo anymore because he arrived as a JCCF president. So his ministry finished on campus. Some arrive as NCCF papo. So their ministry finished in NYSC. When they finish NYSC, many years later, you see them, they say, oh boy, no easy. You know easy. They have finished their ministry. The day you arrive, that's the day you end. A contrite and a broken spirit, the Lord shall not despise. When you see men walking in dominion perpetually, this is the secret. Some of us, we are fellowship president. No matter how the praise and worship is going on. That's our own. Meanwhile, you are seeing Dr. Paul and Enche dancing like a baby. You are a fellowship president. I'm not saying copy him. I'm just talking about simplicity and humility that is now lacking in our generation. You see Bishop Oedeko dancing like a baby, but you are big because you have 20 people in the fellowship. You are walking like this during praise and worship. Even your local government, your ministry will not grow past it. Even the ones who don't know how to dance, you see them laboring on the altar just to show you they have forgotten their reputation. You, is only in your bedroom you dance. When you get to your bedroom, you do all the steps. But when you come to the public, you are a cherubim. So you come with a cherubic garment and there's a way you walk. When everybody is standing, lifting their hands, worshiping God, you sit down like this. We are connecting to the spirit realm. Because the ranking princes, they are your colleagues. Both of you were talking that time when people were worshiping. You were talking with cherubims. You were picking the signals for the meeting. In the spirit realm, you are a clown. They are looking at you like a clown. In Job chapter 1 verse 1, it said Job was a man that feared the Lord and eschewed evil. And he was the greatest of all the men from the east. He knew this secret. Every time a man violates the requirements of uprightness and truth, he becomes an enemy of God. Because he is the spirit of truth. Today, we have become politicians even on the altar. In a bid to create impression, we tell stories that never exist, exaggerate testimonies that never happen. At best, people in the auditorium will clap hand, but you have lost credit in the spirit. The same thing politicians do is what we now do on the altar. Why do you think many churches can no longer excel? The goal is now target, no longer truth. So pastors are lying. In my branch, we have 2,000 Sunday service. Meanwhile, that 2,000, maybe they had it once in an outreach. They now say our regular attendance is 2,000. Just to appear in headquarters that the church is doing well. He prays for the sick. One person is healed in a month. They say in our meetings, people get healed all the time. Little exaggerations, lying here and there. And then he knows this one cannot be a prince. Because princes live by truth. Their words carry power. They are creatures of authority. So they know what they say is a law and is binding in the spirit. They know when they speak, they can create and they can destroy. So there is a realm God can't take you to if your tongue is a lying tongue. If your life is not consistent with your message. They come out and they talk everything that is right. But meet them when they are alone. You can't even as much as look at their phones. Because it's full of garbage. So what we do is stage managing. We tell people what they should do. She goes out on evangelism. She is well dressed. But meet her on campus the next day. She's half naked. So her life is a betrayal of herself. There is no truth in our life. So God can't confer authority and dominion on our lives. Because we will trade it for mundane things. The moment a man begins to lie and exaggerate, it means he's looking for another approver other than God. So if God gives him dominion, he will use that dominion and trade it for that approval he's looking for. That's why I say do not give sacred things to swine. They will trample upon it and run back at you. They don't know the value. No matter how hard it is, Tell the truth and suffer. Weeping endures for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Our light affliction are but for a moment. They work for us a far and exceeding weight of glory. It may not be working now. It doesn't mean it will never work. If you are 10, thank God for the 10 and trust him for 1,000. In his own time, you will even exceed 1,000. If you pray, only one person is healed. Thank him for the one who is healed and trust him for more. By all means, refuse the devil having a harvest in what you are doing. You are in politics, stay right. At least Daniel proved that through uprightness, one can rise in politics. They said they looked for an occasion against Daniel, they found none. Daniel 6:10, except in his walk with his God. 3 times the man prayed facing Jerusalem. His goal was God. When the Hebrew guys were arrested, they said, why didn't you bow? They said, we will not be careful to answer you in this matter. We honor you, but we will not in the bid to honor you dishonor God. We will not be careful to answer you in this matter. If it is that image, we will not bow. The reward was a fire that was burning 7 times hotter. I will rather embrace that fire than embrace the king's approval and bow to another God. We must stay upright. If you will fail your exam, fail. Come for an extra year, write it. I'm not telling you that because you didn't cheat, God will give you a miracle. No, there is reward in labor. Come back, study and pass. But don't bow, because that 1 year of compromise can become 10 years of failure in life. The Bible said they had an evil heart, and God said every 1 day will become 1 year. So 40 days became 40 years. And it was not even about the years. All of them perished in the wilderness. The whole of that generation perished. Don't trade your future with momentary gratification. If you need to go through fire for truth, go through it. I've lost many things because of truth, but I thank God I did. I was teaching in a secondary school in my wilderness days. Preaching to these students, baptizing them in the Holy Ghost. The proprietress knew. The day they were writing chemistry practicals, she expected me to carry the questions, solve it outside, and come and give the students answers. I said, I will never do that. I lost favor and left the school. But today, even those students, they now call me apostle and they follow me. Imagine if I followed them to cheat in that exam hall. Today, which message will I preach to those students? Apart from the blessings, how will those students see me? Hundreds and hundreds of our students. I would have taught them that the power of God can move even when you are sinning. Because I come to the class, the power of God move, but I go and follow them to cheat. They would have seen Christianity as a lie. Because I wanted to have favor with proprietors that was paying me 22,000 naira in a month. Today, if I carry my phone now, in all humility, there's an alert there while I'm preaching here. Because of 22,000 that I was working for, just for proprietors to smile when I come to school. And there were many Christians, because she smiled at them, they solved questions and gave to students in the exam hall. Till today, they are nowhere. If you will lose the job, lose it. It's an honor to go hungry for the sake of the kingdom. It's a blessed are they that hunger, that suffer reproach and persecution for the sake of righteousness. He didn't say God will do a miracle. He said, but in that reproach, they are blessed, that they are able to stand for God. The men you see walking in many, many blessings today, if you know what they went through, the same things you are going through as young people now. They had a time when they needed to change their exam figure. They had a time when they needed to manipulate their CV. They had a time when they had the opportunity to compromise. They said no. It looked as if their life was delayed for 3 years. But what God does for them today in 1 day is more than what they would do in 3 years. Those days I was in that school, earning 22,000 in a month. In 1 year, that was about 300,000. Today, in 1 weekend, I earn more than 500,000. What I was earning in a year is nothing compared to what I earn in a week today. If I won that woman's favor, I would have been in that school till today. Joseph rejected Potiphar's wife. And what did he receive? 13 years of imprisonment. But when he came out after prison, the Bible said until the time that his word came, the word of the Lord tried him. It was not the senator that sent for him. It was not Potiphar that sent for him. He said the king sent for to lose him. Even the ruler of the people, to bind his princes at his pleasure and to teach his senators wisdom. So Joseph was not in prison. Joseph was in a school of training senators. What you see as a momentary setback is actually promotion in disguise. Stand for the truth. Why did his brothers hate him? Because he brought an evil report against them to their father. All the evil they did, he told their father. And they hated him. They threw him into a pit, sold him for slavery. They thought they were selling him. Many years later, when Joseph interpreted it, he said, God sent me ahead of you to preserve a generation. If you will go for a pit for truth, go there. That's God's manipulation for taking you to your throne. And by the time you arrive at your throne, no man can take the glory. No man. Because you journeyed into the throne from a pit to a houseboy service to a prison, and then you appeared on the throne. Others may journey to the throne from Harvard University. But for you who is a kingdom man, sometimes you go to the throne from a pit. We are a generation of people that are used to compromise. It's so natural. So natural. The lady compromises and she leaves her boyfriend's house straight for Sunday service. And she's on the altar singing. I have a very big garden. You think it's about voice. The pastor is coming for miracle service, yet he's chatting a lady. Dirty conversation. He comes and stands on the altar and begins to shout. And he thinks because people are shouting and even falling down, something is happening. We are a joke. That's why we don't have dominion. We may have churches. We may have people in attendance because even our generation is not looking for truth. So we may have a lot of people in attendance. But when you go to society, you will know we don't have dominion.